So I have this friend who's finishing up her master's and she is brilliant, but she procrastinates all the time, like waiting until the very last minute to submit a project, like 11:59. So in this video, I want to dive in, what is the connection between intelligence and procrastination? In the eyes of thought leaders on YouTube, procrastination is usually equated to laziness or a lack of motivation for what you're doing. But in my own experience, I have found that procrastination is usually more connected to my emotional state than it is to me being lazy or just not wanting to do anything. So for example, if you wake up in the morning and you're in a really bad mood, I mean, you wake up, you just feel tired, you feel annoyed, the sun came up too early, your dog is bothering you, you feel really annoyed and not motivated at all. You're less likely to do more because you're in a bad mood, not necessarily because you're lazy or because you're unmotivated. It's just you just don't want to because you're in a bad mood. But after you wake up, maybe you take a shower, you take your dog out, you make some coffee, and then after you get things moving, you start feeling really good. Your emotion starts to change, you feel a little more excited for the day, and you're more excited to work on the stuff that you were procrastinating before. Our feelings have a significant role in our behaviors and how we act. So for intelligent people, is it that they are more emotional, or do they have a different emotional approach when it comes to work and motivation? So according to this doctor, Dr. Ferrari, and I wish I was making that up, who studied procrastination, he found that intelligent individuals have a select set of motivators that perpetuate their procrastination. These motivators are things like fear of failure, perfectionism, and having too many choices. He also found that intelligent people tend to be more creative in their procrastination, and that level of creativity can come in the form of newer distractions or new ideas that hinder from the task assigned to them. Compound that with the idea that intelligent people tend to have a higher pressure because their jobs might be more stressful or they have a higher pressure to perform than somebody who maybe doesn't have as high profile of a job. So what does all of this mean for you watching this video right now? Let's first reflect on what are your triggers. Do you have a fear of failure? Do you have a perfectionist nature? Or do you have too many other things that you're able to do that you push off the projects you're working on now? Identifying your catalyst is the first step to understanding how to stop procrastination or to lessen it in most cases, and to help you recognize patterns and triggers that maybe set you off in an emotionally unhelpful position to actually get work done. Understanding why you procrastinate is the first step in the puzzle. The second step is actually hacking your brain so you can turn your procrastination into productivity and creativity and freedom within your own role, within your organization, or whatever you do. The second strategy, once you know your trigger and once you know your reason, is to get the energy moving. Maybe you found that your trigger is perfectionism or fear of failure. So instead of wanting to work on something for fear that it might not turn out exactly the way that you want it, you might productively procrastinate. That's completely fine as long as you're able to get your energy moving and get yourself from an emotional standpoint of feeling scared or even fearful about how your project is going to turn out and more into a place of feeling neutral or even somewhat a little bit excited. You'll get that procrastination blockage kind of moving and you're able to emotionally be able to pivot into something that's a little more interesting. The third strategy, and this is something that I always like to do, is make a game out of it. So you might not know it, but sometimes when it comes to filming YouTube videos, I get all my equipment set up. I start to think about, okay, how am I going to deliver this script? How do I want to, make this video? And it turns into something where sometimes I like to procrastinate until the very last minute. But what I've started to do with the videos is I will record multiple videos at once, which is maybe not a surprise to you, but I'll make a little game out of it. So I'll do 2 videos and then I'll have a treat. And then I'll do another 2 videos and then I'll take my dog on a walk. And then I'll do another 2 videos. And you kind of see where I'm going. If you can turn it into something that's fun and kind of make it a little more diversified, you'll be able to get your stuff done a lot faster and with a little bit more excitement and intent. The fourth strategy is to create an ecosystem. Procrastination can oftentimes be fueled by a sense of isolation or overwhelmment. And what can be helpful is if you create an ecosystem of support and motivation to make this happen, whether that's surrounding yourself with people that you know are going to be uplifters to you and are going to be cheering you on as you work on things, or even building it into your routine and having your ecosystem be something that's just holding you accountable, whether it's a block on your calendar or a time, that same time every week that you do something, if you can build it into your routine. But being able to build an ecosystem around what you're working on and why it's motivating to you is going to be really helpful from moving that emotional shift from I don't want to work on this to when can I get started. And the fifth strategy is just don't do it. Sometimes it's more emotionally damaging to force yourself to do something that you know to your core that you don't want to do than just not doing it. Now, I'm not saying that you should avoid it forever, but at work, as an example, if you have a project that's due on Friday and it's Monday morning and you just can't bring yourself to work on it, don't work on it. Work on things that get you a little more excited. Work on things that you know you can accomplish and aren't going to take the life out of you. Just don't do it. And then eventually when you need to get to the point where, let's say on Wednesday or Thursday, you say, okay, I need to work on this. How can I approach it? You're going to be a little bit more spaced from the dread of wanting to do it originally. And sometimes if you give yourself, not always, but sometimes if you give yourself a little bit more space from that project, you can approach it with a new lens or a new optimism when you come back around. Procrastination can be a hard habit to break, and I'm not telling you that you should not procrastinate at all, because I promise you I procrastinate all the time. But if you can get a better handle on how you can break that cycle, or when you need to be motivated to work on something, you can hack your brain to make it work. That's hopefully what this video is being able to help you with. And being motivated is only one part of being a really great employee. And if you want to check out this video I made, I talk about what are some other things that you can do as a perfect employee to contribute to your team and your organization. So with that, I will see you on the next one.